So our DREAMaps outdoor advertising management system is what we're going to be showing and what Billy will demonstrate to you today. Some of the key points is the central repository of all the data. So everything is available to you at your fingertips. Anything that you might want to know about a sign, about a permit, including where it is and where it is in relationship to other signs and permits and that sort of thing. The permit application process, which she'll show you, that has a very customized can have a customized workflow for the number of people that need to approve the sign. So the permitting process, it not only has an authorization workflow, but it's all automated and then has the dashboard to show you where you are in the process. And really what this does is reduce your staff time, which is, again, part of our core mission is to help government better serve the public. It improves the communication between the outdoor advertising program in the state to the individual sign owner as well as the general public, which in turn saves money for everybody, both the DOT and the taxpayers as well. So with that, I'll introduce you to Billy Burley.
Yep, I'm Billy Burley, VP of Sales and Marketing, as Angel said earlier. I'm going to be walking you through a quick demo of the system. Before I do that, I wanted to pull up a kind of a generic billboard process diagram that the system follows. We find this is fairly close to what most DOTs are doing, give or take a couple of approval processes, but this is kind of a good place to start. And then the system can be modified to match your specific workflow. So in this case, you see it starts with a sign owner submits an application. And you've got a couple different approval steps between a district utility inspector, a permit coordinator, eventually getting approved by the supervisor, creating a permit tag number, going to construction. Applicant begins construction, informs DOT it's done, a site inspection is completed, and then at that point you have an approved completed permit that then becomes part of the inventory system. These are the general steps I'll be walking through with the demo. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to log in as a sign owner. So here I am as a sign owner. Expand this tree out. Now I've got a couple things I can do. One is I can search. And so if I want to search on all of my signs, if I know a certain ID number, I can search for that, or I can just hit search and it'll pull them all up. So here's a sign owner. Here's all my signs. I can sort each of these. Really the only one that probably makes sense is current status. So then I can see which applications I've submitted, which ones are complete. Here we go, approved permit, the application reviews. I can kind of see what the status of each of these is. But really what I want to do today is start with a new application. So I want to put up a new billboard. So I'm going to hit new application. Automatically the system tells me a little bit of information about the Highway Beautification Act, tells me what the fees are going to be for an application, and gives me some contact information and the various districts. It's obvious from Las Vegas, you can guess this data set. We're using the database for a Nevada project. That's why you've got the Nevada contact there. So then I can pick, I want to do an outdoor advertising sign. Click next. Now it pulls up the applicant information, which since I logged in and I was already a registered user, this information is already populated for me. So I can just go ahead and click next. And now I've got the location information. And one thing to point out, you can see the red asterisks. Those are required fields. And so I cannot move to the next step until all the required fields are filled out. It's a great way to really reduce or actually eliminate incomplete applications. Let's say I'm going to put a sign in Winnemucca. Fill out closest city, highway route, frontage road. I have a tax parcel number. Then approximate location, we'll say at intersection, and the access is, we'll just say a parking lot. So now I click next, and it's going to take me to the structure information. So here's where I enter in all the information about the sign I want to put up. We'll go simple, say I want to put up a sign with one face, 2 posts, go with metal, we say it's a single sign, structure material metal, and we'll just say it's a painted bulletin board. And then the information will say 25 height, 35 width, add that. And there we go. And now I can enter next. And the last thing to enter in is the landowner. We'll say Bob Smith is the landowner. Type in an address. Zip code. And next. So now it's going to come up as the confirmation page. This is just one last look at everything before I submit it to the DOT to make sure I've entered all the information correctly. So I've got my applicant information, my location information, structure information, and landowner info. Now I just click I agree that all that information is correct and valid. Hit continue. And now the system has sent a notification to DOT that they have a new application in review. It assigns it a system ID number, 1519, pending, and its current status will see change throughout the process. Right now it's new application in review. And then I can hit this application link. And what this is going to pull up is the actual sign permit application in a PDF format that's auto-populated with the information I just entered into the system. So then I can save this, or I can print it out from my records, or if in some cases DOT may still require a paper document sent in, if that's the case, that's how you do it. So now as a sign owner, my job's done for the time being. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in as a DOT. And right away you'll see I've got more items available to me than the sign owner. And I'll show you just a quick admin, the admin module later. Show you do that, but you can easily assign different roles, have different permissions. I've got, in addition to billboards, I've got administration and reporting. The first thing I'm going to do is let's go to the dashboard. We've got 2 dashboards in the system. The first one is more of a executive level dashboard, kind of a overview to see what's happening in the state as far as outdoor permits go. Let's make it large and 3D. So you can see this gives me a look of all the open billboard permits by district. As you can imagine, Las Vegas is going to have the most billboards in Nevada. And also, as you can imagine, outdoor advertising signs are more permitted than everything else. That's a quick overview. Now I click My Dashboard, and this gets down to more user-specific items. Right now, I'm logged in as a super admin, and so I see everybody's My Dashboard. In their system, if I'm a permit coordinator, this is the only section I'm going to see because these are the only items relevant to me. And it's somewhat of a work list knowing what I've got to work on. What I'm going to do is, as District Utility Inspector, I'm going to go to New Application and Review. Excuse me. I know it's going to be the last one that came in. So 1519, there's our application in Winnemucca. Click View Details. And now I can review all the information that was submitted by the sign owner. I go to Authorization. Then I can move this to the next step. So all information has been provided, yes. Application accepted, yes. And have I validated all the information? Yes, I have. So now the system tells me you have, and what that's doing, I'll tell you in a minute what that's doing. The system tells me you have successfully completed your process and the permit has moved to the next stage. You can see here in the current status, it also changes to pre-construction and review. And what this Internet Connection Wizard error is that it's also trying to fire off an email. I don't have Outlook on this particular demo box, but if you did, it actually fires off an email to the next person down the line that this step has been completed. Now basically you've got a step to complete. So if I return to my dashboard, and I go to pre-construction and review, under the permit coordinator, you can see there it is, 1619. Now the permit coordinator, I'm a different role here, so I'm looking at the information once again. Validate all of it, go to authorization, say is pre-construction approved. Yes, it is. Trying to fire off an email. And again, you've completed this step. Let's move to the next stage. Pre-construction approval required. So in this instance, they need a final approval to begin pre-construction or to begin construction, and that's at the supervisor level. So you can see now the supervisor has a task to complete. There's my permit or my application. So review the information, go to authorization, and this is where it's going to ask it, are you approving it? And there's an extra little security piece here where the supervisor has a security pin to enter in. It's almost like a digital signature. Enter in my pin. Now you'll see it's moved to the next stage, pre-construction approved, inform applicants. The next thing I'm going to do now as the DOT is let the applicant know everything was good. You can now begin construction. Okay, so here's the information. Again, each step allows you to view the information before you get authorization, so you don't quickly authorize things. You have to look at it one more time. Is the permit tag created? Yes. Customer number is already populated, pre-populated because of it's coming from a registered sign owner. Create a permit tag number. And notify applicant. So now the system lets you do it different ways. You can either phone them or send out a letter, have it generate a letter form, or you can do it email. So this particular one's configured for email. So I can type in congrats, begin construction, or your permit's been approved. I'm a slow typer, so I want to do something quick. I update it. The system's going to send the email out to the sign owner. Now he or she knows time to get to work. So now as a DOT, obviously my job's done with this one for now. It's up to the sign owner to do their job. I'm going to sign back in as a sign owner. Here's my application in process. It tells me my current status is construction. And I can come in and enter in the construction days. Let's just say I'm really fast and I completed it today. Construction is complete. It is a new sign. All the information is correct. And one thing to point out is down here at the bottom, we hear a lot about government transparency, and I would say this is, I think, a great example of that, in that it tells me exactly where this application has been throughout this process. As I can see, it was where pre-construction was, or actually new application review, with the district utility inspector, Dave Feldberg, on this date. I can walk through each step and know exactly where that application's been. Talking to other DOTs in the past, I think sometimes it's a little bit of a chore to communicate back and forth with the sign owner because they're always want to know where their application is in the process. This eliminates the need for sign owners to call the DOTs to find out where is it, how much longer, where's it been, what stage is it at. This takes all the guesswork out of it. Now I'm going to save. And now, again, I'm done as a sign owner, so let's log back into the DOT. Let's go look for my permit. Now it brings me right to this page again. Shows me they've completed the next step, their authorization. Is construction complete? Yes, it is. We did a site visit to verify. Permit has been completed. An update. And now you can see, now we've got an application completed and all conditions have been taken care of. So now this permit, this is now an approved permit, so we won't see it anywhere in My Dashboard. It will just be part of the inventory system now that you can go back and search on it, either by a permit tag number or by the system ID. A couple other things to point out. We do have reporting. Got an ad hoc reporting list. If I want to generate quick reports, I can do that. If I hit generate, it's going to pull up a report. And there's a report, and these reports are completely customizable as far as how it looks, and that's done in the admin stage as far as how the headers and footers look, what columns you want to report on, and then you can configure that and then save that as a report. I can also export this. If I want to export out to Excel or PDF, I can do that. Another feature that I think is a nice feature is the transfer ownership. I know a lot of places you have small sign companies that eventually are purchased by a larger company like Lamar or Clear Channel. If that sign company has 50 signs, it can be a little bit of a chore to go in and correct the information for each sign. The sign ownership form, transfer ownership form allows you to do that all at once. I can search for all the XYZ sign companies or company signs and then transfer them all over to a Lamar or Clear Channel in one fell swoop. The admin module I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to go into this. I could probably spend a day on the on admin because this is a pretty robust system or a pretty robust module. But this is where I would set up my user roles and permissions. I'm going to show real quick what the roles look like. So here you can see I've got role names. So the system, I can set up a permit coordinator. And I can go through here and change the menus they can see, the permissions I have, whether it's edit or just view. And once I have that role created, I can assign that to users. Okay, now the last thing I'm going to show is to go into the GIS portion of this. If I click on GIS map, it's going to fire off our GIS viewer. And a couple things about our GIS viewer. One thing you can see, we go full screen with the map. That's because at the heart of this, we're mappers, and we like our big maps. We also put all the tools right here in this top banner. So they're always there. They're always accessible. You're never having to go look for a tool that you need. Before I zoom in on a particular billboard, let me show just a couple quick things about search. Here we've got, you can search on structure ID, city, county, route, or classification. So let's say I want to see all the conforming signs. And so we just, I have my selection set as just a couple counties that we start with the pilot on. So there's all the conforming signs in those counties. Now if I want to go look at you do have to spell it right though. So there's all the non-conforming signs in that area. So it's a great way to use GIS to visualize certain attributes of the data. So now what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and zoom in here and look at a particular sign. So if I click on one of those points for the sign, I can see a billboard details screen pops up. So I've got the pictures of the sign. I can kind of scroll through. There's that three-way imagery that Susan mentioned earlier. A couple of different shots of that. A couple single pictures. And that's the back. I've also got some more detailed information about the sign. I can go to location. I've got some detailed information about location and all the structure information. You can see we've got some documents tied to this particular billboard, so I can hit the permit button, and here's the original permit tied to that billboard. Then documents gives me a choice of several documents that are associated with this particular billboard. So historical documents, classification checklists, old photos, renewals, anything that's tied to this billboard can be stored in the document management portion. A couple other quick tools. We do have some measuring tools. Let's say I want to measure from that billboard to that billboard, 2005 feet. If you ever want to do an area measurement, you can quickly do an area measurement. And as GIS goes, you can also turn off and on layers. So you've got several layers you can turn off and on. Get the imagery underneath this, I can pull through. Let's zoom in an area to make this a little more attractive looking. So you see we've got the parcel data, we've got some zoning polygons, we've got the aerial imagery underneath. And then we've got a transparency feature, so I can change the transparency on some of these layers. So the space map layer here, now I can see a little bit better picture underneath. And I can do the same with the ortho imagery. Then I always save my favorite for last, which is the our Google Peg Man here, where we've integrated Google and Bing. So take my my Google guy here, drop them down the road. What that's going to do is pull up a separate viewer. That's going to show me on the right, it's the data from Bing Microsoft Bing, your bird's eye view. In the top left, you've got Google Street View. And with that, you can do everything you can do in Street View today. You can pan around. I can drive down the road. As a frame of reference, you also have Google Maps down here. So you can see that orientation of the green area changes depending on which way I'm looking. So that's the billboard system. Like Susan said, it's a great way to organize all of your data, make it all accessible and useful to the DOT and the sign owners.